CattleUSA Daily Podcast. Today we are welcoming Representative Tracy Mann from the 1st District of Kansas onto the podcast today to discuss the Farm Bill and New World Screwworm. We're getting updates from him on Capitol Hill, what everything is looking like as far as updates and negotiations and borders and research and everything else. He talks a little bit about the reconciliation bill, and we even go into trade at the end as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this quick episode with Tracy Mann. Tracy, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come on and chat with us today. We're excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this, and huge value for our great ag producers all over. So thanks for doing this, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump right into it. I want to first and foremost talk about the Farm Bill. Can you give us the 411 and update what's going on with the Farm Bill right now?
Yeah, well, one of the most frustrating things since I've been in Congress is the slowness of a Farm Bill. I've been on the floor of the House 38 times now, urging the rest of Congress to get serious about doing a 5-year Farm Bill. And I think it's important. I'm constantly reminding members of Congress that aren't from ag districts why we're even having this conversation. Why are farm bills 5 years? And I would argue the answer is because 5 years is long enough to provide some certainty, but short enough to adjust and change with the times. And as we all know, agriculture changes year to year, certainly every 5 years. So it's important that we do this. It's important that we get the old one updated moving forward. The biggest thing happening legislatively right now in Washington, D.C. is the big, beautiful bill. It's the big reconciliation bill. A lot of provisions that are good for production agriculture. We're endeavoring to work into that bill, which is a good thing, to really supplement Farm Bill here moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Farm Bill and what that's looking like moving forward, are you still, for those of you that aren't familiar, I was in DC a few weeks ago and talking to Tracy, and we were still very optimistic about getting it moving forward. Are we still feeling like we're able to get this moving forward, or do we think that we're maybe going to be seeing another repeat?
Well, I'm optimistic because of the reconciliation bill. So I think to remind everybody, farm bills today, 83% is food and nutrition, 17% is everything else. And in the everything else category are things that impact our livestock producers, also crop insurance, CRP, those programs. But that's really less than 20% of the bill now. 80% of it is the food and nutrition side. One of the things we're working on the food and nutrition side through reconciliation is how do we stamp out the waste, fraud, and abuse in those programs. And if we can do that, it shrinks your overall cost for the Farm Bill that makes it easier to get done for our producers. So really looking at work requirements for able-bodied individuals that do not have dependents, right? Nobody's for the mom that has little kids. They absolutely need food assistance. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people that are able-bodied, they're adults, they have no dependents, they really should return to the workforce. How do we do things like that? How do we make sure that the states who are implementing food nutrition programs, that they are not just waiving work requirements, that they're really implementing and stamping out the errors that they're making? So all those things, we're in the weeds a little bit, but that matters to then reduce the cost to then try to get a 5-year farm bill into the end zone. So.
Absolutely. Can you talk a little bit more about what we're looking like for provisions for livestock producers within the Farm Bill? Any changes that we're going to be seeing from the previous one that we need to kind of be keeping our eyes focused on?
Yeah, well, specifically things that we're doing in the this reconciliation bill to invest, for production agriculture, Livestock Forage Disaster Program, LFP, payment duration that could double from 1 month to 2 months. Increasing the drought eligibility for producers. Counties could qualify for 7 out of 8 weeks of drought, adding some needed flexibility. So how do you make that program, again, the Livestock Forage Disaster Program, just more workable, more real world? So that's big. LIP, Livestock Indemnity Program, some specific changes that we're trying to make to that. The compensation rate for livestock deaths due to predation in what we just passed would increase from 75% to 100%. Over the prior year's fair market value. As we know, we're in this season where the value of prices are rising, so we've got to make sure that the program is keeping up with the increase in prices, which is good for producers. Also expanding coverage to include unborn livestock up to 85% of market value. This is something I've been working on for a long time. So these are some tweaks, some changes, some improvements that I really would think would strengthen this safety net out there for livestock producers.
Absolutely. I want to take a minute to jump into another topic, and that is New World Screwworm. Can you give us a little bit of an update on the closing of the border and what that is going to be looking like for us cattle producers in the coming months? In today's cattle business, efficiency isn't just a goal, it is a necessity. Here at CattleUSA, we are excited to partner with MJE Livestock Equipment. They design working facilities that streamline your operation, reduce labor costs, and enhance herd health. Their modular systems are built to adapt as your ranch grows, ensuring long-term value and durability. Invest in equipment that works as hard as you do. Visit mjelivestockequipment.com to learn more today.
Yeah, well, I mean, big picture, we got to state the obvious and say that we want to make sure that this does not get to the United States of America, right? We've seen when this has happened before. It's devastating. Took, many ways decades to really get over. Been disappointed, frankly, with the lack of response from some of the countries to the south of us. Was really pleased to see Secretary Rollins, and President Trump take the actions they took to secure the border, to make sure that the Screwworm does not make it into the United States. We really need to be fighting this pest farther south. Our government is funding sterile flies being released, southern Mexico, which is really the antidote to stamp this out. We had some issues early on with the Mexican government not cooperating. We were trying to help them help themselves. They were being difficult. I'd like to think we're through that, but the border, got sealed off for bison and cattle. Here a few weeks ago, I think there's a right decision. Painful to do that, but it's a right decision, and we got to make sure that it never enters our country.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Can we talk a little bit about research as far as New World Screwworm goes and what that is looking like and how you guys are kind of advocating for that?
Yeah, and a lot of that gets back to the Farm Bill, right? I've been a big advocate for let's invest in our research institutions through the Farm Bill. There's other ways to do it as well, but the Farm Bill is a great way so that we are preventing these diseases, these outbreaks before they start. I mean, that's really the key. And then, of course, the three-legged stool, and we've got, NBAF right in Manhattan and other things as well. We are making some investments in our research institutions through what we're doing reconciliation, which is kind of the pre-Farm Bill portion, and that's important. But at the end of the day, we just have got to make sure that we are making these investments to prevent disease, because it's so much less expensive to prevent these things, certainly to prevent their spread, than to fight them when we have a full-blown outbreak.
Yes, absolutely. As far as just anything else you want to leave to your constituents here in Kansas, or just the cattle producer in general, any other updates, any other things that you want to leave with them today?
Well, I would just say, a lot of things going on in agriculture right now. As we all know, prices are high. That's a good thing. Also, risks are higher as well. A big part of, I think, the future of the industry, we've got to continue to work on trade deals. And, you're seeing President Trump renegotiating our trade relationships in the world. I was glad to see the deal struck a week or so ago with the United Kingdom. One of the main tenets of that deal was making sure that we can export our beef into that country. But we need to do that through the rest of Europe as well. So I think we're making some progress. We need to make sure as tariffs come down, as the playing field becomes level, that we're appropriately spending dollars on things like MAP, Market Access Program, F&D, Foreign Market Development Program. Once the barriers go down, then we've got to be prepared to go in there and make sure that we're selling our beef products and all of our ag products, frankly, into these markets. It matters greatly.
It absolutely does. Are there any other foreign markets that you guys kind of have your eyes on right now, or that you anticipate that Rollins and Trump are going to be looking forward to for continued exports?
Well, there's a lot of negotiations, with 90 countries, going on at the same time. I think specific to agriculture, not as much on the cattle side, but certainly I think we have huge opportunities in India, both for biofuels, but also for sorghum. I think that could be a win, just increasing our exports overall matters greatly. But I just think there's a lot of opportunities in Europe still. The European markets have had a lot of protectionist policies for a long, long time. And to see those being revised and really open up those markets for, U.S. grown cattle is a good thing.
Absolutely. It definitely is. Well, Tracy, thank you again so much for your time today and coming on and sharing a little bit of the updates that are going on with all of the things. We really appreciate your time. And as always, thank you so much for what you are doing. doing.
Thanks for doing this,
Yes.
and happy to come on
Yes.
again, and appreciate your time.
Yes, just thank you for what you're doing for Kansas and the cattle producer. It does not go unappreciated, and we really do appreciate what you're doing up on Capitol Hill for us. So thank you, Tracy.
And more to do, more to come. So
yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you
and
too.
yes, have a good one. We'll see you later.
Okay, thank you.